Everything is not funny. They will blame me for I play. My neighbor press ball. Please don't be fall apart.
Good evening, all. Good evening. Welcome to the late evening night broadcast with me here. My name is Mazes. Okay, I welcome you all. Thank you for joining me. If you have not subscribed to this platform, by all means, do so that you have notifications whenever I come online. And I'm just coming online now. Today, we will be looking at something that has really kept the media space buzzing, in the last couple of days. Everywhere is, in the words of some people within the government, you hear something like transmission. So everywhere has been transmitting for the last couple of days. It's been buzzing. There's been accusations and counter accusations, and this is what we're going to be reviewing this evening. The question of paying bandits or not paying bandits. Many of you know that if it's possible, as I had argued, as I had argued previously, um, as they say, like Putin, the Russian president said, his job is to ensure that he sends the bandit terrorists back to their maker. But in this part of the world, Africa, where we are, sometimes things don't really go that way. That we try to negotiate and find, trying to find a common ground, and that's what makes us unique. You hear people, who've committed crimes, and when they've apprehended, and you hear people begin to beg, I beg now, please now, okay, please now. Some people even go and use third parties to try to intervene. Many then argue that this is probably the reason why we are where we are. In the words of former President of the Federal Republic, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, that's why we are. Right? So, but be that as it may, this evening I'm going to be looking at the El-Rufai and his argument of not paying, or of, when he posited his argument that he paid bandits. But now, in his recent interview with Seun Kimbaloye on on Channels TV, he is now accusing the federal government of Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of paying bandits. And he has accused Nuhu Ribadu, a former police officer and former EFCC chairman, and also now the national security advisor to the president and the federation, accusing him of paying bandits. What's your take? Should we, as a nation, do everything possible to ensure that those who take arm against the state, those who, do what, basically go against the state, that they should be punished and not have any form of negotiation? Many of you have called El-Rufai a hypocrite, right? And for saying that he is not going to pay bandits. Recall that, like I said, the El-Rufai is or rather was the former Kaduna State governor, and has always been a controversial figure. You should know that by now. During his tenure, reports and allegations surfaced that his administration paid off bandits to stop attacks in parts of Kaduna. He once admitted that negotiating and compensating bandits was part of his security approach. But now, El-Rufai is accusing the federal government of Nigeria, as I said earlier. Yes, the same federal government he once supported. Recall that he worked for Tinubu, and he, though he lost Kanu, sorry, he lost Kaduna and Tinubu lost Lagos. So equalization of pants and trousers, if I may borrow the words of Fela and Igbola Kokuti, of doing the very same thing that he accused the government now. So here is the irony. The man who was accused of paying bandits now point fingers at Abuja for allegedly doing the same thing. Now, the question that should bug every Nigerian, we'll get to the bigger questions. But before we do, once more, let me get back to, we dug deep and we brought videos of, things that were said before when they paid, didn't pay. So this evening, I will be showing these videos to us. These are not our words. This is not my word. I will let him say these things the way, he's saying it, not me. I didn't I didn't ask him to, but he is the one that decided, you know, um, to say it. Now he has said it. Now we will see. The question once more is El-Rufai, who paid bandits, now accuses federal government of paying bandits. What is next for the National Security Advisor? So El-Rufai, over to you. Tell us what you think about paying bandits. What's your view about paying bandits? Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
And yes, we offered them money. We said, look, if we have to pay you not to kill our people, we're happy to do it.
Is that the only solution?
Now, again, listen to this. This was as a sitting governor. He said, we offered bandits money. We paid them money to stop killing our people. If that is what it will take. Again, listen.
And yes, we offered them money. We said, look, if we have to pay you not to kill our people, we're happy to do it.
Is that the only solution that you're adopting to pay them to stop the killing?
That is the only solution we can see. If anyone has a better solution, he should give us. If you have somebody in Guinea that you cannot prove is responsible for this, but you say, look, we apologize, this has happened. But it didn't happen in my time. Okay, I'm the governor now, this has happened. We apologize that you are caught up in our domestic issues. Have you lost cattle? We can pay. Have you lost lives? We can pay compensation. Compensation for lives and property has foundations even in the Quran and the Bible.
Okay, so in this short clip, you can also hear that that which, makes Nigerians think, or rather let reason take flight whenever the holy books are mentioned, is also brought into fray. So he's now saying, well, in Quran and in the Bible, you can see that this is how it is being done. Question is, as a sitting governor, this was his position. I then ask, what changed?
Look, if we have to pay you not to kill our people, we're happy to do it. Compensation for lives and property has foundations even in the Quran and the Bible. What I will not do, okay, is to pay bandits, give them monthly allowance, or send food to them in the name of non-kinetic. It's nonsense.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw that very well, but here, let me see if I can get a clearer one or a better one, actually. Because he said that what he could not do is to pay bandits, right? And here also he made another striking allegation where he actually accused the Tinubu government of paying bandits. Now, I struggle to say it this way. Not that when he did it, that was the best thing to have done, but obviously he did. I mean, he didn't deny it. He agreed that he did, right? But the question is, was it right that he did it? Is he then accusing others of doing the same thing that he did? You see my point here? This is his position here. Okay, let's try again. For some reason, that's buffering now, but I think it will play shortly. Okay, so let's see if it plays now. Okay, let's take it back. Then we'll bring that back. So, like I was trying to say before, the bigger question, in my view, is if state government paid and now the federal government pays, is Nigeria not stuck in a cycle of financing criminals instead of defeating them? These are questions that every Nigerian must ask. If Kaduna has then, as a state government, paid criminals, bandits, in order to stop killing, which nobody, there is no testament that actually stopped. And now the federal government is paying according to the accusation that he is now raising. The question that must then detain the attention of every Nigerian and every, well-meaning Nigerian is Nigeria not stuck in a cycle of financing criminals instead of defeating them? Are we rewarding violence instead of dismantling them? And where does this leave current National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu? Remember, the NSA's job is to coordinate the national security strategy. Recall that when Tinubu actually appointed him, I think it wasn't NSA, but I've forgotten the title then. That wasn't that too clear. So, and some military officers, then the big generals didn't want to take order from him. And the president had to, change his job to NSA, National Security Advisor, in order for him to coordinate the national security strategy, bringing the military, the police, the DSS, and other, paramilitary under one plan. But the question also that must also detain the attention of every Nigerian is, if these allegations flying that government itself is funding the enemy, how can the NSA regain credibility and chart a new course? Some are already saying the reason why it is, because during Buhari, it was accused that the reason why some of those things were happening was because Buhari, then may his soul rest in peace, was that is because these things are being done by his own people. That's why he let them fly. But now Buhari is no longer there. Buhari is dead. The new person is from the south, and it was the former governor of Lagos, a metropolitan city, the most technologically advanced state and the most populated state, the state that generates the most revenue based on being former capital of Nigeria and also having the largest wharf in Nigeria, right? So if you just oppose all these things together, Lagos remains where it is. And if you also recall that the former director of DSS, I think in one of the interviews that he was asked, that's sorry, former assistant director of DSS, that is Dennis Amachre, was once asked about what El-Rufai did say, and he had the following to say. Let me just play that quickly so that we can hear from someone who is, a deputy director in the DSS, but he had the following to say.
This is, I think, after it.
Governor El-Rufai has been on the front burner and for his stance on no ransom for kidnappers, despite the cries and the videos that we're watching. And many people think, oh, he must be heartless. Oh, it's because his children are not involved. As someone who is part of of intelligence, what do you think? Do you think his stance is fine in this situation?
No, Governor Rufai is trying to correct his mistake. Because, I say so because Governor Rufai was paying ransom to bandits, even when they were not kidnapping people. He was paying them protection money, so to say, because it is there. It's in the media. It's not a new thing coming from me. You know, he was paying them, and then we keep on talking of zero tolerance to ransom, because after they receive the money, they come back to him. After they take the money, they come back. And he has come out to say, this is, I think, after it.
You know, Governor El-Rufai has been on the front burner and for his stance on no ransom for kidnappers, despite the cries and the videos that we're watching. And many people think, oh, he must be heartless. Oh, it's because his children are not involved. As someone who is part of intelligence, what do you think? Do you think his stance is fine in this situation?
No, Governor Rufai is trying to correct his mistake.
Okay, so again, for those of you who just joined me now, again, we can listen to him once more, say and defend his position.
And yes, we offered them money. We said, look, if we have to pay you not to kill our people, we are happy to do it.
Is that the only solution that you're adopting, to pay them to stop the killing?
That is the only solution we can see. If anyone has a better solution, he should give us. If you have somebody in Guinea that you cannot prove is responsible for this, but you say, look, we apologize, this has happened. But it didn't happen in my time. Okay, I'm the governor now, this has happened. We apologize that you are caught up in our domestic issues. Have you lost cattle? We can pay. Have you lost lives? We can pay compensation. Compensation for lives and property has foundations even in the Quran and the Bible.
So now if we now understand this part of what he just said, it's basically, you know, a no-brainer in my view that he's taking that position, right? Now, if we're taking that position now, we can now begin to understand, if we just oppose that to what he said, you know, his now most recent information. Let me see if I can quickly play that for us so that we can hold on. Let me. Sorry. Okay, so here is his current position on the same matter, and that will now lead me to the third segment of my analysis.
There is absolutely no way, okay, that our government, which is the first state government in Nigeria to establish a Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, and invested a lot in coordinating the actions of security agencies, can be blamed for not managing security. No one has managed security with the degree of commitment that we have. And you can ask 3 service chiefs that served in Kaduna, and we have. And you can ask 3 service chiefs that served in Kaduna under my watch. One of them is still alive. Farouk Yahya was chief of army staff. He was GOC in Kaduna. I saw him yesterday at the wedding. You can call him, bring him to this program, and ask him what we did. What I will not do, okay, is to pay bandits, give them monthly allowance, or send food to them in the name of non-kinetic. It's nonsense. We
Absolutely.
Is that what is good? It's not the government of Kaduna State. It's a national policy driven by the Office of the National Security Advisor, and Kaduna is part of it. Many states are objecting to that, but that is the policy now. Kill the bandits. That's the new policy. My position has always been, the only repentant bandit is a dead one. Let's kill them all. Let's wipe them. Let's bomb them until they are reduced to nothing.
Yep.
And then the 5% that still want to be rehabilitated can be rehabilitated. You do not negotiate from a position of weakness. You don't empower your enemy. You don't give him money to go and buy more sophisticated weapons. That's why the insecurity problem has not gone away and will not go away as long as this policy continues.
Incompetent.
Okay. Now, here are my positions. When you look at these now, you begin to think, maybe, does that actually sound right? Right? Does that sound right that the man in question is telling us now what we should hear? Now, let me break this down for us. Why is El-Rufai making a U-turn at this point in time? Is this an admission of failure in his own policies, or an attempt to distance himself from Abuja's current struggle to nip the insecurity in the bud? The federal government's dilemma, if true that they are paying bandits, may bring short-term peace, but it funds more weapons and kidnapping in the long run. I know, even beyond what is happening in Kaduna, in northern part of Nigeria, even in southern parts, some states in southern part of Nigeria in recent time accused of paying militants and ungunmen men. Yes, figure out. That's a discussion for another day. But these are all bandits, whether they are on man no gun, on gun no man, they are all bandits. That's what they are. Another question that will now be is, what is the next step for the NSA? Should Nuhu Ribadu double down on military solution, the kinetics, or open up for a transparent community-driven peace dialogue that don't necessarily involve handing over cash to criminals across board, north, south, east, west? You that are listening to me, the question now before you as Nigerians is, my people, I want to hear from you. Should government ever negotiate with bandits? What would they do? Should they negotiate with bandits? Do you believe El-Rufai is right to call out the federal government, or should it just be politics as usual? And what would you do if you were Nigerians NSA today? If you were Nuhu Ribadu, would you then say, I would be calling for the arrest of El-Rufai? He should call and come for statements now. Or are you going to call your, I don't know, what do you think? Because if we also, in a different interview, if we listen to the conversation between Seun Okimbaloye, I believe this evening, and Dati Baba Ahmed, right? The Labour Party vice presidential candidate. Dati, in his usual, fairy way, made his opinions also known to Seun this evening. Let's just have a listen.
Let's get back to some of the issues that were raised by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who alleged that the government is paying bandits to dissuade them from killing Nigerians. Of course, you know that he appeared on this program on Sunday, where he argued that bandits should be killed and not engaged in negotiation. The former governor served between 2015 and 2023, alleging that the policy of negotiation and compensation of armed groups was a national directive championed by the Office of the National Security Advisor. And since his appearance on this program, there are those who have said himself as engaged in those kind of acts in the past. A debate that has ensued based on that statement. However, the Office of the National Security Advisor has dismissed claims by Mr. Nasir El-Rufai that the federal government had been coordinating ransom payments and inducement to armed bandits across the country. Let me remind you, for those of you who couldn't catch it, but of course you can still go back to our YouTube page. Is youtube.com/China's web, and you can catch the full interview and portions that I'm going to show you. Specifically for our conversation tonight, this is the point where Madam Nasir El-Rufai on Sunday said It is a national policy driven by the Office of the National Security Advisor, and Kaduna is part of it. Many states are objecting to that, but that is a policy. Now, take a listen to him.
What I will not do, okay, is to pay bandits, give them monthly allowance, or send food to them in the name of non-kinetic. It's nonsense. We are empowering bandits. It's not the government of Kaduna State. It's a national policy driven by the Office of the National Security Advisor, and Kaduna is part of it. Many states are objecting to that, but that is the policy now. Chase the bandits. That's the new policy. My position has always been the only repentant bandit is a dead one. Let's kill them all. Let's wipe them. Let's bomb them until they are reduced to nothing. And then the 5% that still want to be rehabilitated can be rehabilitated. You do not negotiate from a position of weakness. You don't empower your enemy. You don't give him money to go and buy more sophisticated weapons. That's why the insecurity problem has not gone away. I will not go away as long as this policy continues.
How to buy cheap government-seized house.
So now the question is, listening to that, just opposing that to the question that I raised, what is your take, right? Why are we that you begin to, in case if you want to make any contribution, if you look at the pinned message on YouTube, you will see the link to join, and if you want to have your say. But on this note, let me bring in Dati Baba Ahmed in to have his a take on it. Recall that Dati Baba Ahmed is also from the same state as El-Rufai. He is from Kaduna State. He was once a senator, and in 2023 he was the vice presidential candidate to Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party.
Sold Nigeria's assets for 4 years at BPE, served as FCT minister for 4 years, and served as governor, would say that there's a national policy of paying bandits. Do we have a government? Am I a citizen? Are you a citizen? Does Nigeria exist? Or do a pack of people live in a certain territory with another group of people claiming to misrule them? Do we have a government? Do we have a nation? What are we doing? Are people understanding the gravity of this statement? Do we have an Office of a National Security Advisor? A national policy is official position of government, an official declaration that this is what we shall be constitutionally doing, what we shall be legally pursuing. That's what we call a national policy. It is made public, it is celebrated, it is broadcast to the whole world. Was such a thing held? Why did Nasir say it? If the so-called Office of National Security Advisor will take this statement with levity, then Nuhu Ribadu was never a policeman. He is not a qualified lawyer. He should not be in that office.
What would you say he should be doing?
So, you see, as I said before, I think if after making this statement, if NSA let this slide, it's a clear indication that actually that Tinubu is paying bandits. Because the bulk stops on his table. If he's not paying bandits, Tinubu must be summoning the NSA by now to say, there is this allegation that you are paying bandit. Please explain. If not, let's ask the one who made that allegation to explain. So either way, one would be expecting that more digging should be coming from the government of the Federal Republic now, either to clear their name or to affirm to Nigerians that actually they are continuing with the policy that El-Rufai had as a governor, even when he is now objecting to the same policy.
His office has reacted to this.
That is not a reaction.
If you were the NSA, what would you be doing?
And Nasir should be writing some comments by now, some statements to the police, to the courts. If the position of Nigeria, the so-called APC government of Uncle Tinubu, if their official position is to be compensating bandits, paying bandits, then we don't have a nation.
So your inference tonight is that whatever Madam Nasir El-Rufai has said in that respect, which will play back, if it's not true, the government of the day should be taken more seriously.
Yes, and so long as it passes by with the so-called, what you call reaction of the ONSA, then it is true. And I tend to agree that it could be true.
But if for example, I was going to ask
before this one, another almost 8-year governor of Borno State said that there are informants of terrorists in the Nigerian military and among Nigerian politicians, and it is official. You have the evidence. Before then, there was another politician who again said that bandits and terrorists were brought into Nigeria pre-2015 election. These are even small ones. Do you remember? Now, what I'm about to say and my arguments are that insecurity is part of APC. Insecurity has been APC's way of getting power. Insecurity has been part of APC's way of staying in power.
Is that fact or just your opinion?
That is my candid, firm opinion that is being strengthened by the kind of unfortunate comments like that of Nasiru.
So,
2 days ago.
But there are no facts to what you're saying.
There are
no
facts.
facts to what you're saying. If there are opinions, how would you say a government of the day is part of their life or living is insecurity?
That I'm giving you the facts. Now, I have clearly given you 3 statements of politicians, government functionaries that are undisputed. I have given you this. Go back in time. Do you remember that a former Nigerian president was attacked by terrorists? Unprecedented. Never in the history of Nigeria did that happen. Do you also remember that I made a passing statement on that in 2022, which, as usual, people didn't take seriously? Why did some young men in the forest in the northeast, what business do they have? When Nigerian leaders leave, they are liked, they are loved, they are forgiven all their errors and everything. This one, they followed and tried to kill him. Why did that happen? What happened in all the donations leading up to 2015? Why decide to come back and run in 2015 after crying and telling the whole world you're no longer content? What was the link with North Africa? What was the link with Muammar Gaddafi? He's not alive, but others are alive to say it.
Okay. I think, you know, if you're not following regional international politics, it might be a little bit confusing here. He's questioning, recall that in 2013, is it 2013 or 2014, when there was an attempt on Buhari's life? Recall that when the Boko Haram, you know, madness became so, you know, almost out of hand, that they started approaching Abuja and some of the plazas in Abuja, you know, I can't remember if it was Banex that, you know, bomb exploded one time. In all those period, the Boko Haram insurgents requested that they are now willing to speak. I think that was under Shakarau. They're willing to speak to the government. But the condition was that Buhari should be their spokesperson, the one to represent them. Eventually, that talk broke down. And according to him, and what we also know, is that afterwards, Buhari's vehicle was attacked. You know, nearly was he killed. And as a result of that, Goodluck Jonathan, then as president of the Federal Republic, gave him more police reinforcement, bulletproof cars, SUVs, basically, in order to make him stay alive. Because the threat was then that, yes, it was the PDP and the Goodluck Jonathan that was trying to kill Buhari, and if you kill Buhari, the North will burn, you know, or if anything happened to Buhari, the North will burn. So that's what he was referring to. But from what he's saying, that I do not entirely get the timeline, was the linkage of APC to Gaddafi. APC started its registration in 2013, moved into 2014, finalized. So I'm struggling to get the link between APC and Muammar Gaddafi, while Muammar Gaddafi died by NATO alliance after the Arab Spring of 2011. So if you backtrack a little bit, this is 3 years prior. But hey, what do I know? Let's continue.
See this property on Craigslist for $4,300 a month? Well, it's been sitting empty for the last 20.
Okay, so we are going to get him back again. So we're playing live. We're going to get him back again. Let's continue to hear him.
You are from Kaduna State, Senator.
This is Chiu. I'm in so much pain. Believe me. Nigeria is a great country. It should be a great country. And we have people destroying us by the hour. Insecurity has been part of APC's game. And Nasiru is saying it And I think he's right. The government has been paying them.
Well, you don't
Last
have
year,
factors.
this time, I have facts.
No, the government has said no, they are not paying them.
They are paying them because the reaction of UNSA is not disputing what Nasiru has said.
You are inferring that
inferring
that the NSA should arrest Nasiru El-Rufai or collect
his
statement. But if that happens, there are those in opposition that will say they are going after opposition voices.
There are more ways to counter such opposition. I told you about 2015. You see, going after a former Nigerian president, trying to kill him. What does that tell you? Something. Before that, what had happened? After Jonathan won in the Supreme Court, they called for dialogue, and those young men nominated a former Nigerian president who took 3 days to repudiate. After those 3 days, go and plot the graph. You will see that between 2012 to 2014, the spikes of attacks around those villages in the northeast skyrocketed because hunger, lack of medicine. Why? Because somebody had stopped sending the recurrent expenses of those people who used to come all the way to Kaduna, collect and then go back, and that's how the cycle went. In protest as to why did you call that name, they couldn't bear it anymore and felt by 2014 the best thing was to go and attempt. It failed. We're lucky. They got Jonathan scared. He thought that, oh, if they kill this man, Nigeria will burn. They provided him with additional cars, more money, and it was all about money. It was all about collecting money. The truth is that somebody had gone to North Africa, negotiated with Gaddafi. Gaddafi, who is was an international terrorist, all over the world, from the far west to the far east, said, I will help you, like I've been doing. I heard there are some young men. There are plans to kill Gaddafi, not in a palace coup, but through uprising. If it fails and you become president, I will retire to your country if you become president. If it doesn't fail, right now, he wanted to create a buffer. So he sent Saif al-Islam, go on YouTube and find out, to Niger with money, cash, millions of dollars in his boot, to recruit Tuaregs to go and fight in Libya. Sent his former general to Mali, why you still have insecurity in Mali. In Nigeria, they gave crazy amount of money to that gentleman. Go and help these people with the intention of bringing them to fight in Libya. When Gaddafi died, they sat on the money. They kept on with the recurrent until after mentioning the name, and then they stopped sending the money. They became, now all these things are linked. They wanted Nigeria to burn if Buhari did not become president in 2015. I contested alongside Buhari for Senate. I contested for Senate in 2011. You have it on YouTube. He said, blood, soaked in blood. The baboon and ever since he made that comment, I refused to go and agree with Buhari. Refused completely. It didn't matter if I lost the Senate seat. I won it eventually. Insecurity for a former president to say, you soak in blood. And then there was, Kaduna is my state. There was serious violence in Kaduna. Many, many houses were burnt. Emir's houses in Ongwansarki, Demna Abba had their houses burnt and all that, simply because of a statement. They went and brought in people from those neighboring places in readiness to remove Jonathan by all means. So the desperation of people to get Jonathan out of power has built up and added to what we call insecurity in Nigeria today.
So you're inferring that all what we have seen over the last few years as insecurity is orchestrated?
Of course.
And it's political?
Of course. Last year around this time.
This narrative.
Last year around this time. Whatever I tell you, I'll try to give you evidence. Last year around this time, we were just negotiating the release of our own nephew. And when he came out, what he said is not much different from what Nasir El-Rufai is saying. They complained that, and this young man is alive. He could come here tomorrow and you interview him. He's alive now in Zaria. He's alive. That, look, they're not making much money relying on these handouts from government. Each time they go out to operate, they make more money, like he does in their hand. We kept negotiating. He's alive and he can come to this and sit with you, Sheon Akimbaloyi, and you interview him.
I know that what he said, I can also confirm. You know, the mistake some individuals aside the northern side has made, especially in the southern side, those who created insecurity in their places, is that sadly, some of them sat somewhere abroad and bought walking sticks and granules, gave certain individuals with the hope you pay them 50 to 100,000, they should go inside the bush. But which is actually quite nonsensical, because why would you pay someone such an amount? And whereas the person, you know, comes on a third road, raises the same walking stick up, and makes million. It's just basically what is confirming here. And this is why some of these entities have gone into full-blown kidnapping, right? Sadly. And the government knows what to do, but the government is not doing it.
This is a fact. But my grudge with Nasiru's statements is that he was part and parcel of APC from 2013. Like he told you, he was one of the architects of it all. All of a sudden, to come and absolve himself and call others. No, Nasiru is part and parcel of all that has been going on. We suffered, we are victims of Nasiru's misrule in Zaria. Go back to December 2015, when a war was supposed to have been won in the Northeast. What business, what military and strategic business did an army chief have to come to Zaria for a convocation, not of NDA, graduation of recruits, privates, choosing to follow the route where the Shiites were holding? All these things were orchestrated. They knew the exact hour, the exact minute that he was coming to pass, because they had the technology. And 800 people were killed because they wanted to raise down the temple that was built. These things were carefully doctored and orchestrated.
These are heavy allegations that you are making. And which one will imagine? One will imagine someone of your status in the society. Why are you just saying this? Why are you saying this?
No, sorry, Sean, unless you're not listening or you don't know. This is not the first time. I mean, come on. Even when that happened, many of us called it out. Many of us knew what was happening then. You know, these things were orchestrated. That how can you have killed over, when the commission of inquiry came out, they said over 300 people lost their lives. I mean, 300, not 300 chicken, not 300 goats, nor cow, 300 human beings with blood, human beings, humans lost their life. But according to what that is saying, who is also from the state, that those Shiites that were killed were over 800, right? And I mean, that is orchestrated. That is well planned. You know, they say if he walks quacks like a dog, then definitely
Amounts to
must
a
be
political
dog.
gimmick. What exactly are you up to with this?
Shawn, have you saying it? I said it in your own program. I mentioned the link about North Africa. In your own program, go back and check. Play the archives and see. Wherever I spoke, I linked electoral fraud with insecurity, corruption and insecurity. I have always done this.
Give me a moment, sir. We're going to break. But when we come back, our closing moment with Senator Baba Hamman. And of course, afterwards.
Anyway, so if we, like I said, if we put all this together, sadly, I don't want this broadcast to be that long. One thing that has become very clear is that El-Rufai, in my view, has flip-flopped, raising the question, why this U-turn? Is this an admission of failure in his own policies, or an attempt to distance himself from the current madness happening in Abuja, right? Or the federal government's dilemma, as it were, if true, that the federal government, through the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, is paying bandits. Many would argue, myself included, that this may bring short-term peace, but it definitely will fund more weapons and kidnapping in the long run, because instead of I actually would agree with the position, with the postulations, or the current position of El-Rufai, right? To say you've got only one job: send them to their maker if they do not want to repent. Finally, my final analysis here: what should the NSA do next? What next for NSA? Should NSA then be like Dati posited? Should NSA be inviting him to come and make more clarifications, or should that just be it and we do as if nothing happened? Right? In this country, former Ibrahim Mantu, I believe from Plateau State, told us how PDP were rigging election, how they wrote the result. In this country, nothing happened to him. In this country, the name fails me. I forgot her. Okay. In this country, we had a former governor tell us how they imported militias in 2020, in 2014, 2015, for the 2015 election, that they were ready. If they had lost that election, they would have declared war. And all these men, some of them jumping ship, right, left, and center, those who from the NPDP to the CPC that eventually became APC, all of them were in cahoot in this plan against the Nigerian people and against Goodluck Ebere Jonathan. But today, in all these things, it appears Goodluck Jonathan, even in his people called him clueless, even in his quote unquote cluelessness, he was much smarter than them. When he called Buhari, even when the election results were not all announced by eye and neck, right? What did he do? He made that call. By that singular call, he pulled the rug off those who had betrayed him, including the then PDP chairman and his own NSA. Allegations had it that those individuals were in Saudi Arabia where they had meetings on how to work with the APC to pull the plug off his foot. He was the one eventually who actually pulled the rug off their feet by making that call. All those people egging him to fight. If you recall the infamous Orubebe, Dikin Orubebe saga, where he was trying to start we no go gree, without knowing that he had no men behind him to join to call for we no go gree. Everyone has been compromised. But Goodluck Jonathan outsmarted all of them by yielding that he has lost those who invited the criminals to help them fight had to start feeding the monster that they paid for their transportation to come and render havoc. Havoc, eventually, they rendered to Nigerians. Thank you very much for being part of this evening broadcast. Please, 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 if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I beg you, please subscribe, like, share in your WhatsApp groups, and, join us, join the Telegram. If you go to the description of this video, you see the link to join the Telegram group. You see the link to join the WhatsApp channel group where we post informations, news updates, and breaking news directly to your phone. On this note, I say thank you for being my guest this evening. Good night and see you.